WON. What's up? What's good? What's popping? What's cracking? What's percolating? What's really good in the hood? It is your man Theo Butler, and welcome to it's the last issue before we kick off in the Doom War episode. I ain't saying, I'm just saying what's wrong with it. Before anybody begin, like, share, subscribe. You like, leave a comment. If you don't like, leave a constructive comment. This is it. Black Panther, Volume 5, Issue 12, Part 6, Power, 12-issue story arc. Shuri becoming Black Panther. T'Challa getting some new abilities. The Dora Milaje becoming OP. Yes, we got all this right before we get into Doom War. Yes, and I'm going to shout out to my man D-Real. Y'all make sure y'all get with him. He's going to be reviewing Panther's Rage. He's going all the way back to the early 70s with Marvel Comics and everything like that. Shout out to you, D. Steezel, for keeping me on top, making sure you let me know, hey, I'm gonna help you out when I see that opportunity in there. For man, listen, D. Steezel, those of y'all that come at me like how D. Steezel does, and what hey man, this right here, you misspoke on this, correct that. I love that, because I'm not perfect. And I don't think anybody can say y'all have really been able to come to me and say, hey, Theo, bop, 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 and I don't go ahead and handle that business. So D. Steezel, my brother, thank you. You like the unofficial part that's attached to my hip, because you ain't gonna never let me just go out there and be astray. You gonna throw a brother a lifeline, and I definitely appreciate that. Whether the brother asks for it or not, and I'm gonna always latch on, because I know you're gonna keep a brother in tune. So here we go. We got this episode. This is it. The final issue. This is it. Shuri's story arc as Black Panther. Reginald Hudlin started it. Jonathan, I want to make sure I say his name. Jonathan Mayberry continued it. It's right here. Hold on. We're going to come back.
What is this? Another beautiful cover by Paul Renard with all of our main antagonists. Shuri, Namor, Mr. Fantastic, The Thing, and the Human Torch. And this, ladies and gentlemen, this is the last chapter before we get into Doom War. So let's go. Before we begin, though, shout out to D. Steezel for keeping me on my toes for the past few issues. I've been crediting Reginald Hudlin as the writer when since issue 7, Jonathan Mayberry has been the writer, with Ken Lashley on pencils, Paul Neary on inks, Paul Mounts on colors, and VC's Corey Pettit on the letters as we continue with Power, Part 6. You know what, though? Let me give D. Steezel and those like him their flowers. Since day one, he has been a supporter. When he critiques, it's constructive. When he points out a mistake, it's not to make a brother look bad. It's to inform a brother, to help a brother out. His delivery is always on point. And since I know I'm not perfect, I'm open to being corrected by him and a few others. There's a level of trust that has been built up since day one. Him correcting me isn't making me look bad. It's to make sure I keep succeeding in this arena of media. Salute D. Steezel, and salute to those like him who truly want to see others succeed and aren't opposed to helping them with that success. I appreciate that, my brother. Thank you so much. As our story resumes, we find our heroes in the Wakanda Quinjet, having uncovered the Broker's Island. Namor states it's more than likely a trap, and they all agree. Shuri states that although it's probably a trap, it's more than likely a trap for just her and not all of them. As they get closer, all of the systems go down to the point where they even lose contact with Flea, who's in orbit. Even Reed acknowledges how advanced it has to be, the technology, for their communications to be knocked out. And while Johnny cautions them, Shuri believes they can handle whatever the Broker hurls their way. Back in Wakanda, we see protesters gathering after Aurora's response to one of the protesters. Mind you, we still don't have the person who said there was that guy reaching for a gun, nor do we have the person that hurled the water bottle at one of the scientists. We also don't have either one of the scientists, specifically the one who was hit in the head with a water bottle. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Nevertheless, as Aurora and Ramunda reach out to T'Challa for assistance, he tells them basically that he and Wakanda on cool to one another. Like, I ain't got nothing to do with Wakanda. Wakanda ain't got nothing to do with me. Aurora wants to know if that applies to she and he, as in their marriage. To which he just tells her they are experiencing a rough patch right now. And it only gets worse when Aurora is placed under arrest for her attack on Ram Matunga. Get that boy. As she informs him of the arrest, T'Challa tells her to surrender. That if she doesn't, things are going to get hella nasty, and publicly her image will be destroyed forever. As he boards his own Quinjet, one of his guards assures him that frequency jammers are in place. No conversations can be monitored from this point going forward. We see T'Challa telling someone that he just hung his wife Aurora out to dry, that the plans are in motion, that they can't be stopped. Next page over, we see Shuri and the rest of the gang about to pull up on the broker, and they are immediately met by a mandroid. You know, I ain't seen a mandroid since John Byrne run on the X-Men. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Not impressed, everyone on board busts out laughing until the mandroid wrecks their jet. Reed wants to get Shuri to safety, but once again, she ain't hearing it. So my girl jumps out, which makes sense because the aircraft is exploding. Like, the only time you should want to jump out of a perfectly good plane is if it's no longer a perfectly good plane. Never mind. Y'all know what I'm saying. Anyway, she jumped out the plane, but it's looking like she don't have a way down. But they do say cats land on their feet, so it is what it is. Anyway, we see Dr. Doom observing from afar, telling Declan, the broker, to kill as many as he chooses, but don't risk being captured himself. Now, as a reader, I'm asking myself, does Dr. Doom really think this guy and any of his goons are going to be able to seriously injure 3/4 of the Fantastic Four, Namor, and the Black Panther? Like he's personally tried, Doom has tried and failed on multiple occasions. So I'm trying to figure out what makes him think this dude, who's a lesser villain than he is, going to succeed. Never mind. Either way, Doom is confident. He tells Declan to kill Reed last. Yeah, right. Declan is a realist, though, and he reminds Doom of what's real and what ain't. Somewhat coming back to his senses, Doom asks for Declan to at least give him 1 hour. As the two men converse, we officially learn that Doom and the Desturi are connected to one another. Back on the field of battle, we see the Thing face off against a souped up Crusher Krill, aka the Absorbing Man. In essence, he absorbs the properties of anything he touches. From that beatdown, we shift over to see Namor being stomped on. Really? $1 million bounty for his ankle wings? Admittedly, though, it's not looking too good for the visitors. It's not. They taking L's right now. We turn our attention back to Shuri, who's being pursued by the mandroid that just destroyed their ship. And she's deployed her glider wings. She also disperses what appear to be marvels, but are actually mini holographic projectors, which have their own built-in heat signatures. Oh, God help me. No. You know, if you ever ask Shorty what's her body count, you asking her for a whole different reason than you asking another female what her body count is. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Back in another remote location, we see Desturi 1, that's what he's calling himself, calling his brothers and sisters to arms as we see from multiple screens the arrest of Aurora, protests, police corruption, the seizing of a news station, military coup, and the Queen Ramunda herself being taken into custody. Back in the headquarters of Declan, Mrs. Tickle informs him that their team of bad guys are facing an uphill challenge. The broker likes his chances, though. From there, we see Desturi 1 being brought up to speed on where the coup stands. Long story short, as of right now, the Desturi control all of Wakanda. Back on the battlefield, the tide has been turned. Next page over, we see the gentleman that Desturi 1 was speaking to. Where before they thought it was only 8 levels of security, they have since found that it's 12. Rather than trying to figure the codes out, they decided to take a shortcut. Doom just says, hey man, listen, pop one of them dudes, get the information we need. Returning to our group of heroes, Flea compliments them on their success, but then warns Shuri of an attack from Roger Gawkin, aka the Porcupine Man. Can y'all believe that this guy has been a love interest of Spider-Woman? Yep. And is low-key the unofficial father of her son, as in he's basically the stepdaddy. Anyway, after making short work of him, Shooty goes after Declan, but he's not pressed. 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 44 seconds later. 12 minutes and 44 seconds later than Doom needed. So they've been out there fighting nonstop for over an hour with no breaks. Damn. Reed wants to talk, but Namor doesn't. He remembers that Declan sold Nitro the mutant growth hormones that allowed him to explode to such a degree that it killed hundreds of people in Stamford, Connecticut. Hardcore comic book fans are going to remember this event as the starting point for the first Civil War in Marvel Comics. Yeah, this is what started it. Started off the whole Super Registration Act. In the MCU, they adapted this storyline for the movies. Out went the Superhero Registration Act, in came the Sokovia Accords. Steve Rogers appears to die in this storyline at the hands of Sharon Carter. Appears. Any Captain America fan is going to tell you he did not die. Nevertheless, that's a long story. Long story short, he didn't die. Sharon Carter didn't kill him. She just thought he did. She did. Back to our story, though. The trio of Shorty, Namor, and Reed want to know what, when, where, how, and why when it comes to the broker and his involvement with what's going on in Wakanda. My brother literally tell them, don't hate the player, hate the game like that. Damn. He says this while fading to black, like he literally fades out on the head. Fade out on the head. While the three of them watch as Ndega boasts of being the new press secretary for the Dasturi party. Boy. A couple of panels later, we see Doom setting foot in Wakanda. We find that even amongst the Dasturi, there are those that have their own agenda that has nothing to do with the rantings and ravings of Ndega. What they say about honor amongst these? Yeah, that part. What's their motivation, you ask? Money and anarchy. And just in case there is any confusion as to what Doom is trying to get his hands on, it's the vibranium. I told you, Doom War. Back on board T'Challa's jet, we once again observe him speaking to someone. He's speaking to someone. Maintaining complete secrecy, their plans have worked and the villains have revealed themselves as well as their motives out in the open. Now, as Shorty says, they stop running and they fight. Yeah, that's who we've been talking to. My dog been incognito with Shorty the whole time. Sounds like a message for a movement right there. Now, we stop running and fight. Y'all know what's next, right? What's on the horizon? Yeah, y'all see it. Before I end this, though, I realize there might be those of you who want to know what happened to the Fantastic Four after this story. Well, as we find ourselves back in New York, we see some odd-looking creatures called mole men coming out of a manhole cover. A truck comes, and while two jump out of the way, the third one ain't so lucky. Buddy looks DOA, and if he ain't, his head being popped off definitely signals it. Like he should be dead. Anyway, the FF, short for Fantastic Four, are alerted by Kirby. I'm calling him Kirby. He remind me of Kirby from the Saturday morning Fantastic Four show. So unless D-Real, D-Steezel can tell me his name is something else, I'm going to call him Kirby. Anyway, the two mole men saunter right on up to the FF, complete with the Invisible Woman. Yeah, she's there now. And the disembodied head says it has a message for them. Like, that just would have freaked me out. Like, two creatures that don't look human walk up to me with a head in the hand of another creature, and that head says, not the two creatures that's walking, but the head they carrying says, clear the area. Anyway, we hear a rumble dumble, 5 minutes of laughter. The mole man says, I'm here, the conceited bastard. Lottie-dottie, lottie-dottie, my bad. Shout out to Slick Rick and Dougie Fresh. I can't help it. I'm hearing music every time I read this stuff. Anyway, some big bad creature comes up through the floor with the mole man stepping out of its mouth. That's gross as hell. Saying he needs their help. That story picks up in Fantastic Four issue 575. In a couple of days, though, I'm going to come back to y'all with this Doom War. Hold on. Oh, man. Whew. Listen, shout out to Grand Madam Tarot. She said she couldn't wait. Grand Madam, this is it.
Shout out to May Kent. Thank you so much for rocking with me and everything like that. We got it. My man, D Steezel, Austin, TA. Hey man, y'all. Ray Smith. I could. It's so many of y'all that keep me doing this and everything like that. I appreciate y'all for doing it so much. This is my beautiful daughter. Hold on. Come here. We're gonna sit this food down. Come here.
Sure. Hi.
Yeah! This ain't the youngest one. The youngest one is not here. This is the 10-year-old and everything like that. Say hi, Jalea.
Hi, y'all.
Yeah. We doing it big over here. So listen, I appreciate y'all for rocking with me and everything like that. Doom War. I'm gonna make it my business to have, what's today, Tuesday? I'm gonna make it my business to have the first issue of Doom War to y'all Thursday. No later than Thursday, absolutely. Until then, listen, coming to y'all with another video. I ain't saying, I'm just saying. Peace.